Prophetic revelation. 40 days until divine transformation manifests in August 2025. Be ready. In the calm of the quaint English village, nestled among rolling hills and bathed in the warm glow of twilight, Sarah found herself whispering fervent prayers at the local chapel. As she bowed her head, the air thickened, pulsing with an extraordinary energy. A voice, clear and resonant, pierced through the softness of her thoughts. In 40 days, revival shall come. Tears streamed down her cheeks as a divine shiver enveloped her. It felt as if heaven had just brushed against her. The tightening of the heart, the quickened pulse, all signaled an imminent awakening that stretched beyond imagination. In that sacred moment, she knew the prophecy bore weight. Without hesitation, she rushed home, her spirit singed with fervor. That night, she gathered her family in the living room, excitement rippling through the air like a fresh spring breeze. A miracle is coming. Our village will transform, she declared, her voice a melodic hymn of hope. News of her revelation spread. The following Sunday, the chapel was alive with murmurs and fervent voices, a kaleidoscope of emotions. Some whispered prayers, others gazed skyward, while a few hardened skeptics crossed their arms in doubt. Divine transformation? One man scoffed in this world? Yet, despite the scattered shadows of disbelief, Sarah felt the growing anticipation pushing against the barricades of doubt. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Yet, the thrill of God as promised didn't shield Sarah from the storm of her life. As weeks passed, her heart sank further with every doctor's appointment, the grim shadows of despair coiling tightly around her family. Michael's laughter grew quieter as illness took its toll. Each diagnosis was a nail in the coffin of their dreams. Could prayer be enough to alter destiny, especially when she feared losing the very foundation of her family? Determined not to let hopelessness settle, she turned to St. Jude. As she clasped the rosary, a soothing wave of calm washed over her, mingling with the electric tension in the air. Days raced by, the countdown to divine transformation echoing in her heart. Intent on galvanizing her community, Sarah urged congregational gatherings, unifying everyone under a shared mission: prayer. Yet the village was fraught with tension, ridicule from non-believers, and skepticism from erstwhile friends weighed heavily. Like an oppressive fog looming over the vibrant promise she clung to. But then, just days from the prophecy's deadline, something unbelievable happened. A family member, critically ill and thought beyond hope, stood miraculously healed. Gasps echoed through the chapel as people fell to their knees. The veil of doubt lifted, and faith flourished among them like wildflowers breaking through the frost. The atmosphere shifted. The chapel buzzed with divine inquiry. But amidst the collective, all lingered questions. Was this truly the beginning, or merely a fleeting spectacle? More troubling to Sarah, how did this affect Michael's fate? As hope soared through the village, a quietly potent dread gripped her heart. With 40 days left, their journey into divine intricacies and the unknown loomed ahead, stirring an anticipation so thick it was almost tangible. Would faith sustain them as they waited for the next miracle to unfold? Sarah woke up the next morning with a heart full of hope, but also weighted by the worry for Michael. The sun peeked through the curtains, casting a golden glow that seemed to whisper promises of new beginnings. Yet, as she looked around their home, a heaviness settled within. The walls that once echoed with laughter now seemed to absorb her uncertainties. After breakfast, she found herself wandering through the village, her mind racing. She smiled at neighbors, but their faces reflected both curiosity and trepidation. They had witnessed the recent healing, Yet doubts still clung to them like shadows refusing to part. How can miracles happen here? They wondered. But as whispers of the miraculous spread, a flicker of hope ignited in the hearts of those willing to lean into belief. That evening, Sarah felt an urge to invite everyone to the chapel again, encouraging them to share their own stories of faith and healing. "We must gather," she exclaimed to her family, her voice trembling with excitement. "We are on the edge of something beautiful." Her words stirred a gentle wave of enthusiasm, as memories of old miracles became stories waiting to be told again. As dusk fell, the chapel filled with life. People arrived hesitantly, some just to observe, others with bundles of burdens they carried deep inside. The warmth of candles flickered like stars lost in the night, each flame symbolizing a prayer or hope steeped in anticipation. Sarah stood before them, her heart pounding with the weight of their collective spirit. "This is a time of revival," she proclaimed, her voice ringing clear. "In just days, we have heard the afflictions lifted. Let us seek his presence together." The air buzzed with expectancy, and as prayers entwined, a divine hum knitted their hearts together. In the midst of this gathering, a young woman named Emma stood up. With tears in her eyes, she recounted how she had once lost her own battle with health, but found strength in her dreams of revival after embracing her faith. The congregation listened, enraptured by each detail. Emma's authenticity draped over the assembly like a comforting blanket that sheltered their fears and invited belief. The clock ticked, each second shedding light on the choices they would make. As prayers grew bolder, something stirred in the room, a profound sense of connection to the divine. Sarah sensed angels hovering as sighs of relief together curled up to heaven. The atmosphere shimmered, creating a tapestry of faith colored with ancient stories of resilience. They weren't alone in this. A sacred network linked them to the divine promise. However, amid the rising tide of hope, shadows still loomed. Sarah caught sight of Michael's empty seat, stirring unease deep inside her. Would he join them before the transformation? Time felt like slipping sand, and unanswered questions began to haunt her. Suddenly, just then, a member of the congregation, an elder named Mrs. Collins, stood up to pray. Her voice trembled, layered with the weight of years and experience. "Heavenly Father, we ask for courage, for faith to grow where doubt tries to take root." A hush fell over the room as everyone bowed their heads, every soul present so desperately wanting to believe. As the prayer crescendoed, a sudden rush of wind swept through the chapel, making the flames dance wildly. Gasps filled the air as the door swung open to reveal a figure standing outside. The silhouette was all too familiar. Sarah's heart raced. Could it be Michael? The moment held its breath, as anticipation swirled in the room. Would this divine encounter shift everything they believed? Would answers to their prayers pour forth in ways they hadn't dared imagine? As the figure stepped closer, their spirits soared. An omen of impending transformation was at hand. What awaited next would change everything. The figure moved into the light, revealing Michael's familiar face, now softened by the glow of hope surrounding him. The room erupted in gasps, then silence, as eyes widened with anticipation. Sarah felt her breath catch in her throat. There he stood, living testimony of the miracles they had begun to believe in. "Michael!" Her voice broke through the stillness, an announcement of joy and disbelief. She rushed forward, her arms outstretched, yearning to bridge the distance that fear and uncertainty had created. As their bodies met, she felt an undeniable warmth like the sun breaking through a thick fog after a long, cold night. His eyes, once clouded with pain, sparkled with a light that seemed new, as if he had returned from a journey far away. "I've missed you," he whispered, the words laced with gratitude. "I've missed all of this." He gestured to the congregation, now rising to their feet, hope mirrored in their eyes. A wave of collective emotion surged through the room. People embraced, laughter mingled with tears, and the air thickened with the fragrance of shared faith. It was a festival of the Spirit, and each heart felt an electric pulse of revival. Sarah saw her fears dissipate. Michael was home, and it felt like heaven itself had touched their lives. Michael turned his attention to the crowd. "I didn't know how to fight my way back," he began, voice steady yet soaked in humility. "But God was with me every step of the way. I felt His presence guiding me, and it was all for this moment." At his words, joy broke like water over dry soil, saturating hearts parched with longing. Sarah could see that the doubts which had clouded her neighbors were dissolving. The miracles they had called into being were now palpable, rock-solid foundations of faith rising in their hearts. She felt her spirit rise with each proclamation of belief echoing through the chapel. This was the awakening they sought. Suddenly, another voice echoed through the space. Mrs. Collins, emboldened by the spectacle before her, stepped forward. "Tonight we are witnesses. Let us give thanks not just for Michael, but for the hope he embodies, for every prayer that carried us through darkness." "Let us pray," someone cried, and a chorus of voices flooded the room. It was a beautiful chorus of faith, rough and raw, yet imbued with exquisite power. As prayers ascended, Sarah felt the atmosphere shift once again. An inexplicable energy crashed around them like waves in a storm, yet it was gentle, comforting, inviting them deeper into the heart of divinity. Michael, standing firm, raised his hands as if drawing in the very essence of their collective prayers. Then, something extraordinary happened. A soft glow began to radiate from Michael, illuminating the chapel in hues of gold and white. The light expanded, wrapping itself around each member present, a thrumming pulse of divine love. Gasps filled the air, some falling to their knees in reverence. "Can you feel it?" Michael's voice thundered gently over the crowd. "This is the presence of our God, pouring out His promise. We are not abandoned. We are chosen for this moment to witness His glory." Time hung like a still photo, every moment stretching into eternity as the crowd became a tapestry of faith and hope interwoven with the tapestry of heaven itself. They were alive, hearts racing, hands reaching toward the divine. Yet as the light enveloped them, Sarah felt a whisper brush against her spirit, a question beckoning. "What do you truly believe?" In the stillness, she searched her heart. Would she lean into the mystery of faith or retreat into fear? As the light flickered, illuminating yet another layer of divine purpose, she understood that the journey was just beginning. A transformation awaited them all. But first, they needed to confront the depth of their belief. What would that revelation reveal in the coming days? Michael stood before them, bathed in that sacred light, but a deeper silence fell upon the congregation. It was a silence pregnant with questions, a stillness filled with aching curiosity. Sarah's heart raced, the whisper still echoing in her soul. "What do you truly believe?" It pressed against her, both a burden and a beckoning. Around her, she noticed faces lost in contemplation, eyes reflecting that same shimmering light radiating from Michael. It was as if a veil had been lifted from their spirits, revealing a longing for something beyond their understanding. Was it faith they saw, or perhaps a deeper calling? "Tonight marks a new beginning," Michael proclaimed, his voice firm yet tender. "A journey not just for me, but for each of you." He gestured to the diverse faces in the room, the young, the old, those weary yet hopeful. "We are on the cusp of something profound. Over the next 40 days, God is preparing us. Days of revelation, days of healing, days of transformation." A buzz spread through the crowd, a gentle wave of anticipation. 40 days, someone murmured, as if tasting the promise held within those words. Sarah felt the weight of their meaning. She remembered the 40 days of rain when Noah waited, the Israelites in the wilderness, and how Jesus fasted for 40 days. Each story hinted at divine preparation, a season of surrender that birthed something sacred. What is being asked of us? Mrs. Collins' voice quivered slightly, but it was steady in its inquiry. What must we do in this waiting? Prayer, reflection, "In service," Michael answered, his gaze sweeping over the gathering. "These aren't just words. They're our action plan." Sarah grasped the significance. It wasn't a passive waiting. It was an active engagement with their faith. "We seek, and God will reveal," she thought, feeling a swell of excitement building within her. As Michael continued, sharing his journey, his challenges, and the moments where faith had been both a shield and a sword, Sarah felt her heart both swell and ache for their shared struggles and victories. "When fear threatened to drown me," he shared, "it was the fervent prayers of all of you that kept the light alive in me. And now it's our turn to lift each other up." Some began to nod. Others whispered prayers of agreement. The light continued to pulse around Michael, transforming the chapel into a sanctuary infused with divine energy. Sarah sensed the unity blooming like a flower breaking through winter as frost. "Let us take this time to act in faith," Michael urged, and a spirit of determination washed over the crowd. The room seemed to vibrate with a collective heartbeat. Each person was a thread in a grand tapestry, intricately woven by God's hands. "Will you commit to this journey?" Michael asked earnestly. "Will you walk alongside one another in faith, trusting not just in what you can see, but in what God is unveiling?" "Yes," came the chorus, voices lifting with fervor. A young girl at the front shouted, "I believe. I want to see what's next." The courage in her declaration broke through the lingering doubts hanging in the air. Sarah felt a spark ignite within her. As the congregation joined hands, forming a circle of unity, joy began to bubble from within. The warmth of their connection surged as they spent moments in quiet prayer, asking for guidance, for strength, and for the revelation yet to come. Yet as they prayed, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that an answer was waiting just beyond their grasp. What revelation might come from this commitment? What lies ahead in these 40 days of divine anticipation? As the gentle hum of prayer filled the air, Sarah felt the weight of expectancy nip at her spirit. Each whispered prayer was like an invitation into the sacred unknown. Could they truly prepare themselves for whatever God was about to unveil in these 40 days? The atmosphere thickened with a sense of purpose. Fingers intertwined, their united hands seemed to pulse with a shared heartbeat, vibrating with the promise of transformation. Sarah glanced around the circle. Each face told a story, some weary, others radiant with hope. In this moment, they were bound by an invisible thread, woven by faith and a profound yearning for meaning. "Let us not forget the importance of our intentions." Michael's voice broke through the silence. "As we embark on this journey, be honest with yourselves. What are you bringing before God? What areas in your life beg for His divine intervention?" A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Sarah's mind raced. What indeed? She thought of her fears, the insecurities that flitted like restless shadows. What if she dared to acknowledge them? She inhaled deeply, feeling the air fill her lungs with courage. "Prayer will guide us," Michael continued. "May we focus our hearts on authentic dialogue with our Creator. Let us seek Him daily, be it in joy or in sorrow." The resolve in his words ignited something within her. The concept of daily prayer cast a shimmering light over her past troubles, those moments of self-doubt and uncertainty that had burdened her heart. "Today, I choose to surrender my fears," she whispered to herself, feeling a wave of warmth wash over her. With that thought, she set an intention not just to pray, but to actively seek God's presence in her daily life. The chapel, once a place of routine, stirred to life as a sanctuary. As Michael led the congregation into a time of worship, the music enveloped them, swaying like a gentle breeze through the trees. Voices lifted in harmony, rising and falling in unison, a chorus of yearning souls crying out for connection. In that sacred space, Sarah closed her eyes and let the melody seep into her being. She envisioned her fears, her doubts, releasing them with each note. It was as if God was there, wrapping her in a cocoon of grace. She felt the release the burdens she had carried for far too long began to unravel. And then, Amidst the ebb and flow of worship, a stillness descended again. It was different this time, an expectant pause before a storm of revelation. A hush swept through the chapel as everyone grew still. Michael opened his eyes, looking fervently at each of them, his expression serious yet hopeful. Friends, be prepared to hear his voice in unexpected ways. God may not speak like we imagine. Sometimes the smallest whisper can carry the weight of a mountain. Listen with your hearts, for in these 40 days, you may be surprised by what he reveals. Tension hung in the air like a hanging mist, resonating through the souls present. Could they truly trust that this journey would lead them to unforeseen paths? Sarah's heart quickened. Hadn't she often overlooked the subtle nudges of faith? As Michael invited those who felt compelled to share their intentions aloud, she felt an urge rising within her, a desire to be part of the unfolding narrative. Suddenly, several voices spoke in a beautiful cacophony, each one echoing a commitment to explore faith, to heal, to delve deeper into the mysteries that lay ahead. A profound sense of unity washed over Sarah, and she felt an irresistible pull to embrace the challenge that lay before her. But what would it require of her? What was she truly preparing to face in this sacred journey? The room buzzed with anticipation as they prepared to close their gathering, but Sarah's heart raced with the promise of what was to come. This commitment felt monumental. She could almost taste the divine anticipation in the air. Could they truly be ready for the revelations that awaited them in the days to come? What truth would emerge from this spiritual chrysalis? As the gathering slowly dispersed, the air hummed with lingering hope and questions unspoken. Sarah stepped outside into the cool evening, her heart a flurry of expectation. The world felt different now, as if the very ground beneath her feet had awakened to the possibility of divine encounters. The stars began to twinkle against the darkening sky, like promises yet to be fulfilled. In this moment, Sarah caught a glimpse of the vastness of her own spirit. She walked along the path leading to her home, feeling as if each step was guided by an unseen hand. What awaited her in the stillness of her heart? What divine whispers would echo through the corridors of her mind in the days to come? This was no ordinary 40 days. It was a sacred journey, rich with the potential for transformation. Suddenly, she heard the soft rustle of leaves, a gentle reminder of God's creation. Each leaf spoke of seasons, of change, how everything in life unfolds in time. As she continued to walk, Sarah whispered, "Lord, show me how to embrace this journey. Teach me to recognize your voice in the gusts of the wind, in the flutter of a bird's wing." In her mind's eye, she saw the faces of her friends from the chapel, each carrying their own burdens, each also seeking the light. Every story, every fear, mingled in the air like swirling incense, rising up toward heaven. Sarah understood that their journey was not meant for solitude, but for shared strength. Together, they could lift one another toward hope. As she stepped through her front door, the quiet of her home enveloped her. It felt like a cocoon. She found a candle on the kitchen table and lit it, allowing its warm glow to fill the corners of the room. She sank into a chair, aligning her heart with the flickering flame, the dance of the light captivating her thoughts. "Speak to me, Lord," she murmured, closing her eyes. "Reveal yourself in ways I've never expected." Minutes passed, and just as a stillness settled, a memory surfaced. It was a passage she had read long ago. "Be still and know that I am God." The words wrapped around her like a hug, igniting her spirit with the truth of their simplicity. The stillness was interrupted by a sudden thought, sharp and clear. What if all the distractions of life had kept her from truly hearing God's voice? What if she silenced the noise, if only for a few minutes each day? What revelations could sift through when she slowed down? Determination settled within her heart like the candle's flame. She committed right then to create sacred moments time apart from the busy world. It was a small promise, but in her spirit, it felt monumental. As Sarah surrendered the fear she had voiced that day, she felt a wave of lightness wash over her, pushing her doubts aside. For the first time in a long while, she felt free. Yet a question nagged at her heart. Could these small changes lead to significant shifts? What if this was just the beginning? With a gentle sigh, she rose from her chair and approached the window. The stars twinkled like heavenly confetti, daring her to dream bigger, to stretch her faith. She could not shake the feeling that something magnificent awaited her. Outside, the night deepened, and a soft breeze whispered through the open window, teasing her senses and carrying away the last remnants of her hesitation. "Lord, I am ready," she breathed. "Let your will unfold in ways beyond what I could ever imagine." As she leaned into the calm of the night, she couldn't shake the feeling that the first revelations were on the tip of her heart, just waiting to be discovered. What would the first whispers of God sound like in the days to come? What new path would her journey illuminate? Excitement bubbled within her like sparkling water. The night was still young, and the adventure was just beginning. The morning sun poured through the window, filling Sarah's kitchen with golden light. The lingering promise of the night before still glowed in her heart. Each ray felt like a reminder that today was a new opportunity to dive deeper into her spiritual journey. As she sipped her coffee, Sarah felt an urgency to put her commitment into action. The thought of sacred moments ignited a spark within her. She set down her cup and grabbed a journal that had been collecting dust on a shelf. It felt like a token of possibility, waiting to be filled with her reflections. "Today, I will breathe," she declared softly, as if announcing a new mission. She titled the first page, "Moments of Stillness." Beneath it, she wrote, "In these moments, I will seek your voice, Lord." The world outside was alive with sounds of nature, a symphony of birdsong and rustling leaves. Sarah took a deep breath and opened the window wider, letting in the fresh morning air. She closed her eyes briefly, allowing the melody of creation to wash over her. It was here, amid such beauty, that she felt God's presence most acutely, as if the divinity was wrapped in every note. Once her heart felt steady and full, she sensed a nudge to reach out to her friends from the chapel. Encouraged by the warmth of connection, she sent them a message inviting them to take part in this journey of stillness together. "Join me for a time of prayer this evening," she typed, feeling a thrill of anticipation. With each tap of the screen, Sarah felt the thread of community pulling her closer to her friends. There was strength in numbers, she thought. They would encourage each other, share revelations, and together build a rich tapestry of faith. The day drifted through blissful peace. She spent the morning wandering about town, admiring the blooms of summer flowers swaying in the breeze. Each blossom seemed to whisper secrets of resilience and renewal. A thought danced across her mind. Just as the flowers thrived in this season, so too could her spirit flourish under the warmth of divine care. As the sun descended, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and pink, Sarah prepared for her gathering. She lit candles, filling the space with a soft glow reminiscent of flickering hopes. When her friends arrived, the room filled with an embrace of laughter and joy. Each soul brought a story, a piece of their own journey, and it reverberated in the cozy walls, uniting them under a shared purpose. When everyone settled, Sarah spoke from her heart. "Tonight, let us let go of distractions and come together in anticipation of what God is about to reveal." She felt a holy hush settle over them. Eyes closed and hearts open, they began to pray. As silence encased them, a palpable energy surged in the room. Sarah's heart quickened, sensing the weight of the moment. It was a sacred threshold they stood upon, ready to step into uncharted realms of divine connection. Then, out of the stillness, a soft voice broke forth a friend, trembling with emotion. "I think God is urging us to listen for his whispers in the ordinary," she shared. "What if our busy lives have almost blinded us to his presence?" A murmur of agreement flowed through the group. Each word shared became a stepping stone, leading them deeper into reflection. In that sacred space, friendships were strengthened and spirits stirred. As the prayers flowed, so did revelations. The air seemed to shimmer with divine insights, overwhelming them with a sense of purpose. Is it possible, Sarah pondered quietly, her spirit ignited, that we are not just waiting for transformation, but are already in the midst of it? Together, they embraced the mystery of faith, igniting the potential for monumental shifts. The question lingered in the air as they prayed, what would the next revelation bring? What divine journeys awaited them as they moved forward into this sacred 40 days? As they concluded their time together, a collective wonder blossomed in their hearts. God was there, alive and active, guiding them gently into the unknown. Tomorrow would be another step on this journey, revealing the extraordinary in the mundane. What awaited them in the morning light? What whispers would shape their paths next? As dawn broke, the soft light creeping into Sarah's room felt like a warm embrace, inviting her to a new day of exploration. She lay in bed, reflecting on the previous evening, her heart still glowing with the power of their shared prayers. There was a freshness in the air, a feeling that something extraordinary was unfolding. Sarah rose, the aroma of coffee wafting through her small home once more. She moved instinctively to the kitchen, plugging in the kettle. The gentle hum was soothing, a friendly reminder that life was full of small comforts. As she waited, she noticed her journal, half open on the table, beckoning her to continue her reflections. She flipped to a new page, eager to capture the thoughts swirling in her mind. "What do you have for me today, Lord?" She scribbled, her pen gliding along the paper. The act itself felt like offering a prayer, a preparation for what the day might bring. With her steaming cup in hand, she stepped outside. The world had released its nocturnal grasp, the vibrant colors of summer ablaze under the brightening sky. Birds were perched above, singing with enthusiasm. Each chirp felt like a gentle reminder God was ever present, waiting to be acknowledged. As she walked, she listened closely, trying to tune into the whispers her friend had mentioned. What did it mean to perceive the divine in the ordinary? As if on cue, her eyes fell upon an elderly gentleman tending to his garden. He moved with grace, nurturing the plants with care. Sarah could see the love and dedication etched into every gesture. Lord, how often do we miss moments like these? She thought. Here was a man engulfed in a sacred act, quietly living out his faith, rooting God's love into the soil. She felt inspired to approach him, her heart racing slightly at the idea of this spontaneous encounter. "Good morning," she called, and he turned to her with a smile, his eyes sparkling. "I couldn't help but notice how beautifully you care for your garden. It's my little piece of heaven," he replied, a hint of pride in his voice. "I believe every plant, every flower, has a purpose. It's all part of God's creation, don't you think?" "A purpose," she repeated. A wave of understanding washed over her. It wasn't just the flowers flourishing, it was the whole process of growth around her. Perhaps this was the lesson for the day. Nurturing faith like a garden, knowing that even the smallest seeds could yield magnificent blooms if given love and attention. With this thought, she shared her invitation to prayer, telling him what she was pursuing in this season of stillness. He nodded, pleasantly surprised. "You are on a noble journey, my dear. As the scriptures say, seek and you will find, right?" It often starts with those simple moments. They chatted a bit longer, exchanging thoughts on faith and the beauty of God as creation. Each word felt like a thread, weaving them together into a shared experience. When they parted, she felt lighter, filled with joy and a deeper understanding of her spiritual adventure. Returning home, she grabbed her journal again. "Today, I learned that every moment has the potential to be sacred," she wrote. It was indeed a revelation. The quiet whispers she sought were not just in the stillness of prayer, but in the living tapestry of life around her. As evening approached, Sarah found herself reflecting once more on the week ahead. The thought of shared prayer sessions with her friends brought a warm smile to her face. They were diving into a new layer of faith together, every moment an invitation to growth. But there lingered a question in her heart, a pressing wonder about what God would reveal next. What if the ordinary moments held the keys to extraordinary transformation? The anticipation thrummed in her, enlivening the next steps of this sacred journey. What was yet to unfold within this 40-day sojourn? How would their collective revelations lead them closer to the divine mystery waiting to be unveiled? As the sun dipped low in the sky, its golden rays painted the horizon with hues of orange and pink. Sarah felt the warmth on her face and couldn't help but paused to breathe in the moment. Each sunset seemed to whisper promises of new beginnings. She stood by her window, a sense of anticipation bubbling within her heart as she thought about the week ahead. With the memory of the elderly gardener fresh in her mind, she decided to embrace the ordinary moments that often passed unnoticed. What other lessons might God be waiting to reveal? She settled into her chair again, opened her journal, and began to write. Today was a reminder that every interaction can be holy, that faith must be tended like a garden. The evening settled around her, enveloping her home in a loving quiet. She could hear the faint sound of laughter and chatter from the neighborhood, families winding down after a long day. It warmed her heart, and she felt compelled to engage in her own community. A thought struck her. What if she invited her friends for a spontaneous evening of prayer and sharing? No set agenda, just an open space for everyone to express what has been stirring in their hearts. With a quick flick of her fingers, she sent out messages to her closest friends, her excitement bubbling as she typed. Let us gather tonight. I believe God is moving among us. As responses trickled in, each message felt like a confirmation. Yes, they were ready. The thrill of anticipation stretched her spirit. After tidying her home and lighting some candles, Sarah felt a holy stillness embrace the space. She prayed softly, welcoming the presence of the Lord. Lord, may this gathering be a vessel for your goodness. Use us as we share and grow. Moments later, familiar faces filled her living room, laughter blending with the aroma of freshly baked cookies. They settled into a circle, warmth radiating from each person as they greeted one another. Sarah, what is the plan? One friend asked playfully. Honestly, just an openness, Sarah replied. Let us share what we felt this week. What has stirred our hearts? Where is God leading us? One by one, they spoke, each sharing their own experiences from the last few days, the little blessings, the challenges, the divine moments that had caught them unexpectedly. I've been stressing about work, another friend shared, but I noticed the beauty in the little things like my morning coffee and the flowers outside my office. It's like God was reminding me to pause and notice Him in the ordinary. As they shared, a palpable energy filled the room. Each story was a thread weaving them closer together, stitching their hearts into a fabric of collective faith. With every confession, they encountered layers of vulnerability and celebration. The ordinary moments began to glow with divine meaning. They realized they were not alone in the journey. Suddenly, a sense of urgency fell upon the group. One friend exclaimed, "What if we intentionally seek these sacred moments this week? Let us see what God reveals when we let His light shine through our daily lives." Sarah nodded enthusiastically, her spirit ignited. Yes, let us purposefully look for those divine whispers. Let us be aware everything counts. Night deepened, but their voices grew stronger. Together, they prayed, lifting each other, releasing their worries, and expressing gratitude for the community around them. As they closed in prayer, Sarah felt a surge within her soul. This gathering was not just an evening of sharing. It was a turning point, a launching pad. God was stirring something powerful within them. Remember this feeling, she whispered as they finished, eyes shimmering with anticipation. We may be stepping into something greater than ourselves, but what? The question lingered like a sweet promise hanging in the air, inviting them to explore the mystery that awaited. What transformation was on the horizon for each of them? How would God reveal His plans in the days to come? In the days that followed, an exhilarating current of expectation coursed through the village. Sarah and her friends soon established a rhythm of shared moments. Every evening, they convened raw, open-hearted, and hungry for God's voice amidst the ordinary. Their collective commitment bore fruit. One by one, astonishing revelations danced into their lives. An unexpected job offer surfaced for Sarah, presenting a path she'd long hesitated to pursue. A breakthrough in others' personal struggles emerged as their faith deepened. They began to see how the seemingly mundane had transformed into vessels of the divine. Emboldened, they crafted a sacred space framed by honesty and vulnerability. Each gathering turned into a living tapestry of testimonies. One friend, Lisa, stood up one night and declared with a glow, "I've learned to see God in the little things. The way my children laugh, the kindness of a neighbor, it's all Him. Every moment holds miraculous potential." The room erupted in applause. Joy swirled around them like gentle winds, lifting spirits high. But amid the shared joy, doubts occasionally flickered, reminding them how fragile this journey felt. One evening, Sarah noticed Michael's brow furrowed with concern. After the closing prayer, she approached him. "What is on your heart?" He sighed, relinquishing the weight of silence. "Though miracles are happening, I fear what is next. Can we sustain this faith? What happens if the light dims?" Gently, she placed her hand on his arm. Faith isn't about constant light. It's the assurance that even in darkness, we're held. We must trust where He leads us, even when it's hard. His gaze softened, and slowly a smile returned. They were learning the dance of faith together, an eternal interplay of light and shadow. As days melted into weeks, they realized the final days of waiting were upon them. The excitement shifted from uncertainty to an electrifying peace. "Are we ready for the culmination of these 40 days?" Sarah asked the group one evening, her heart thumping with anticipation. "Let us commit ourselves fully," Michael urged, fire igniting in his voice. "Together, let us seek clarity and be open to however God chooses to reveal His purpose." On the eve of the 40th day, Sarah felt the depth of their shared journey. The chapel brimmed with eager souls, each heart buzzing like a living prayer. Flickering candles cast dancing shadows as the atmosphere glimmered with divine expectancy. When everyone settled, Sarah stepped forward. "Tonight marks not just a conclusion, but an opening," she proclaimed, conviction lacing her words. "We've walked through fears together. Tonight, let us surrender anything that holds us back." Voices mingled in a beautiful symphony of prayers. They laid their worries bare before God, inviting Him to unveil the next chapter. Silence enveloped them as they paused, contemplating the immense possibilities ahead. Suddenly, Sarah felt a stirring, a gentle nudge from within her spirit. Almost instinctively, she closed her eyes. "Lord, reveal yourself to us tonight," she breathed, giving space for divine encouragement. A warmth flooded the chapel, as an unexpected light filled their hearts. The air thickened with powerful presence. Gasps escaped lips, each soul aware they were touching something sacred. Michael took a step closer, eyes sparkling with wonder. "Can you feel it?" he asked breathlessly. "This is it. God is moving among us." And then, as if in agreement, a culmination of voices lifted a single declaration of divine glory. "We're ready," they shouted, a wave of fervor cascading through the room. In that life-changing moment, answers danced into existence. Sarah found herself speaking. Expectantly, "We declare miracles over our community. We stand as vessels of His light." Tears flowed freely as the atmosphere surged with unmatched unity, an unbreakable bond forged through collective faith. In the days that followed, the village transformed. News spread like wildfire. Families began experiencing healing. Despair was lifted. Joy burgeoned where shadows once lay. Schools filled with laughter. Neighbors embraced one another like never before. The day of the prophetic promise arrived. A bright dawn breaking over the horizon, a symbol of a vibrant future awaited. Sarah watched as her community gathered at the chapel, all interconnected like a web of Goddess love. As she stood before them, the pulse of revival echoed, strong in her heart. "This is merely the beginning," she proclaimed, conviction radiating off her words. God has tethered our spirits together, not only for ourselves, but for the light we can bring to others. In that holy space, they understood. Something profound was at the core of their journey, an unwavering belief that miracles could erupt from the simplest moments, resonating with the lavishness of God's grace. The 40 days had sculpted them. They were no longer just a collection of individuals, but a living testament to the unfolding beauty of faith. And with hearts alight with gratitude, they left that night, a chorus of transformation vibrating in every step they took. This, dear friends, is the moment where your journey may begin too. You need to subscribe now to continue receiving these divine faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let others discover this powerful journey. Comment below your thoughts. How has your faith transformed? And what testimonies do you hold in your heart? And don't wait even one more second to share this message with at least 5 friends who deeply need to witness God's manifestation in their lives. Together, let us walk this miraculous path of faith.